Death of copywriters in the future for copywriting freelancers in 2025. In this video, we are going to explore what's going on right now for copywriters, especially those who are jumping into the game. My name is Lauren, and I've been a copywriter for over 10 years. So I'm going to give you my perspective of what people getting into the copywriting space need to expect, and for those who already are in it. And the first thing we have to address is AI writing tools. They are faster, cheaper, and easier to use than ever before, and they might replace you on that next gig. This has been a big fear for years. And look, AI tools aren't new. For those of us who have been copywriters for quite some time, there were AI tools then. They just weren't as good as they are now. And a lot of them are quite incredible and much easier to use than the ones that were around like 7, 8, even 10 years ago. And they present an option for people who would otherwise need a copywriter to have a way to get copy without them having to study what copywriting is in general. So yes, you are competing not just against other copywriters, those coming into the industry or those currently there, but you are competing against machines, things that can do things maybe faster than you can. And because these AI tools have access to some of the greatest pieces of copy and the worst pieces of copy out there in existence, you have a lot that you might feel you're competing against. And in some cases, you will not win thinking you're going to stop the AI tools. That's a mistake that people in Hollywood are making now with the different unions, trying to unionize a way to get their prospective employers to not use these writing tools. But if you're a freelance copywriter, there is no such thing, alleged protections for you. You have to understand that, yes, these AI writing tools are out there. They're better than ever. They're getting better every day. And that they're faster, cheaper, and easier to use. But that doesn't mean that you can't get copywriting gigs. That doesn't mean that at all. What it means is that you have to decide either to really be great at what you do, be better at prospecting than anybody else. And 3, which I think is really important, learn how to use the tools yourself to help you get faster and better at what you do. Assuming that you have learned the basics of marketing and sales principles, you have a clear advantage over other copywriters who are just jumping in and don't know much yet. Or even those who decided, to kind of cheat people when they really didn't know what they were doing in the first place. If you understand the basic principles of marketing and sales and human psychology, you are invaluable to a real business that values those things so that they can get the best results. So why not learn how to use some of these AI writing tools to help you idealize faster angles that could be used in somebody's copy? A lot of copywriter colleagues of mine that I know use AI writing tools. Do they use it to replace them actually writing all their copy? No, they don't. They do use it to come up with multiple different angles just a little bit faster that can be tested in ads or sales pages or whatever promotional materials that they may be writing. You can do the same thing if you decide to actually invest time into learning how to use some of these AI tools to help augment your ability and your skill that you've developed over this time as being a copywriter. Now, if you're new to the game and you're still learning, you can use these tools to help you learn more copy or to add these into your practice of learning some of the psychology behind using marketing and sales tools. Just add it as a tool to your arsenal, just like anything else. I remember back in the day, Evernote used to be the greatest thing ever when copywriters were walking around taking notes. Just use it as another tool in your toolbox to help you write copy faster, better, be more effective. Which brings us to our next point. There are more copywriters entering the market as freelancers. Now, besides the fact that most people in the world don't know what a copywriter is and often mistake us for being in the legal field, there are a lot of copywriters out there that traditionally would learn copy, sometimes more brand-related copy versus direct response-related copy, and they would go on to work at different agencies, some really big agencies. And there are agencies that's still out there that employ, hundreds of copywriters around the world. Okay. What I'm finding is that there are more copywriters than ever. They're learning from free courses on YouTube. Some are paying for courses from people who are known copywriters in their field. And there's a lot more people entering as freelancers. This, of course, adds to all the competition that is out there for us in the market. Because yes, the more people are out there saying, hanging their shingle up, saying, "Hey, I'm a copywriter," the more people you have to compete against. Whether you have proof of some of your results or not, whether they've worked at an agency or not. Like, for example, I got into copywriting because I wanted to write better ads for my tutoring business. Okay. That's why I got into it. I got into it just to improve my own skills in advertising myself for my side business that I had back then. And eventually I started taking on freelance work. And I used the fact that, hey, well, I was writing copy for my own business. I was writing copy for my family business as well. And it seemed to be working. But at the same time, I had consulting experience. So I just married in with that. A lot of copywriters coming into the market don't have any experience at all. Some of them, they work part-time jobs, and then they saw an ad that they can make money from anywhere, and they just took the opportunity. So we have a lot of more copywriters entering the market, but they are not as savvy or smart at this point because they haven't had the time to really hone their skills as copywriters or learn basic sales principles. There are a lot of copywriters that don't understand sales at all. There's a lot of copywriters that don't understand the basic principles of marketing. And because they don't understand these things, they go out into the market at a lot lower cost than, maybe they shouldn't be charging anything because they don't have any experience, but they go out in the market at much lower cost, and it becomes almost a race to the bottom with a more experienced copywriter who actually knows more of what they're doing to people who just entered the market 6 months ago trying to get gigs. I've seen people on this platform right here, YouTube, talking about how they're writing, they were so happy to get paid $1,000. And I'm like, oh, cool. You finally get into it and you're doing your thing, you're prospecting. But these are one of these copywriters that went and watched a 4-hour YouTube video series on how to write email copy, prospected for like 3 months, finally got someone to pay them $1,000. And it turns out they're going to be writing 20 emails for $1,000, which is robbery. You couldn't even get someone on Fiverr to write 20 emails for $1,000. But that's the kind of market they're in. And as long as you have people like that who are entering the market inexperienced, don't know anything about business, don't even know anything about their craft, it's going to be continually a race to the bottom. And as a writing skill, which some people say, they don't value writing, you're already in a situation where, well, how much should I really be paying for some words, for some pixels, right? And once you get into that conversation, it's truly a race to who can pay, or, who can pay the most for the most work. Or in a lot of cases, it really puts copywriting in terms of how much people should be getting paid, particularly sales copy, which is a copy that's designed for a conversion to make money, in a spotlight where it should be just for pennies. So with so many more copywriters entering the market, for those who've been around like me, it could be more challenging going out there and charging certain prices, which we should be charging, because you have so many young bucks out there who don't know what they're doing and charging little to no money for all that work, for them to learn the hard lesson of, when you're in this industry, particularly e-commerce and internet marketing, people are always looking to scam you out of a whole lot of work for very little, and that you have to protect yourself, and your pricing is part of protecting yourself. Not that you should be charging, $500 an email you just started copywriting like 2 weeks ago, but to not be charging the equivalent of, $5 an hour for all the work you must put in, because writing itself is a small part of actually copywriting. But with all these new folks entering the market who have yet to learn that and have a lot of bad teachers because not being taught properly, and part of that is that they're not spending any money to be learned properly in the first place. This is what we're getting in the market. So there's a lot more competition, but it's a lot of dumb competition too. But unfortunately, too much dumb competition in these markets really does drive the price down for copy. And so it does make it a bit more dangerous, not only for people entering as I'm going to be a freelance copywriter for side of business or to grow into my full-time thing, also for people who've been in the market for quite a number of years. And it's interesting because less of them are actually trying to get into agency work. Meanwhile, I'm seeing not only agencies, but I'm also seeing other bigger companies hiring and wanting in-house copywriters. And yet there's not enough people who have quality work out there who have experience applying for those positions because everybody wants to be a freelancer and they think it's easy. So it's been very interesting watching this go down over the last year, especially in 2024. And so it is going to affect our outcomes here in 2025, which moves on to our next point here, which is more mediums that require different skills need more skilled labor. Now, my last point, I talked about some of this labor is they're not skilled. They learn the very basic, sometimes email copy. Very few people talk about things called advertorials, or even how to write content copy in the first place. And we have a lot of unskilled labor out there because they were sold the dollar and the dream about, hey, be a freelancer and you can make all this money. You can make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. And sure, I've known copywriters who make tens of thousands of dollars a month. But I also know that a lot of us in the copy space who do that as a freelancing primarily live in feast and famine a lot of times. I also know how much or how little work people do for that money because they have years of experience and connections and all those things that make up. So here's the thing. Every few years, there's a new social media platform. There's a different medium of social media. And a lot of copywriters, you eventually will be writing for social media. Some of you start out learning how to write for social media. But there's other mediums out there. There's direct mail. I write direct mail pieces. There's things like Magalogs as part of direct mail. You got magazines that still exist. You've got your regular white space and and classic ads that are in certain newspapers that still exist in some cases. You have radio. You have phone scripts. You have text message. You have writing scripts for chatbots is still kind of a thing. You have all sorts of social media platforms and video and VSLs. There's a lot of different places that require copy. And very few copywriters start out getting trained on how to write for these different mediums. And they have their different rules and different compliances and everything else. But, email is like, I love writing email because it's fast and forgiving. But a lot of people start writing email and can't even do that right. They don't learn how to write long articles. They don't know how to write sequential articles and sequential sales pages or any of the things that I grew up learning how to write. And no, there wasn't always a course to show you specifically how to write something. A lot of it is like taking what other people did and analyzing it and breaking it down. So I am able to write in different mediums and different types of copy, not just sales or direct response copy, but also what we call brand copy, right? And or content marketing. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of people out there who do not have these skills, who could get their first few gigs or get more work if they had these skills. Hey, you can write direct mail. You know how to do postcards. You know how to write phone scripts. You know how to write not only email, different types of email sequences. You know how to write different types of sales pages, advertorials, ads for LinkedIn, Facebook, Meta, TikTok, whatever. And a lot of these people don't know how to do it or do it well. So even though there's all these copywriters, as I explained in the last point, that are coming to market, a lot of them are just unskilled labor in terms of copy, right? Which leaves the door open for people using more AI tools to try to replace the copywriter. But the truth is, if you don't have the knowledge and experience of doing these things, you cannot use those tools properly to help build out copy faster either. And there's going to be more mediums. There's going to be more social media channels that are going to have different rules of engagement. That's just what it is. Like, there's Blue Sky, and writing stuff on Blue Sky, how people respond to that. As a copywriter, it's going to be important to help those companies that eventually with Blue Sky, might be a bigger thing maybe in a couple more years than it is right now. That's up in the air. But being able to write copy for these different mediums, knowing how to test, is going to make you stand out as a copywriter. And so if you are a copywriter who is skilled in a couple of different mediums and you can do it well, you can turn around and get gigs at a time that a lot of copywriters are losing their positions or losing gigs to people using AI writers. And even with the amount of freelancers coming into the market, if you are skilled, if you know how to write cold email sequences that work, if you know how to write phone scripts or VSLs that work, if you understand how to marry sequences from different mediums together to result in whatever that company needs you, whether it's a sale or just eyeballs, you will have work in 2025 as a freelancer. You will thrive as a freelancer because many people come into the market are unskilled labor, listening to any other guru that they see on YouTube. Unfortunate business owners who do not believe in spending money at all most of the time, using AI tools but do not have the knowledge or experience of how to use those tools properly because they haven't learned sales psychology or marketing in the first place, producing subpar copy that then needs to be edited by a copywriter anyway. Which is what happened with a lot of companies who jumped on the AI writer train a little too early and didn't understand that, oh, I actually need somebody to go over this and there has to be a plan about this. So with more mediums that require different skills and the need for more skilled labor and there's a lack thereof, if you are currently a copywriter right now and you have skills in a couple of different areas, you can beat a lot of these other folks out there and you don't have to be the best, what they call A-list copywriter. But if you can be persistent and consistent in your pursuit of being a little bit better and also getting gigs, meaning you are prospecting and talking to people and letting people know that you exist, you won't have to worry about the copywriters out there who will not be able to make it, who will need to find another avenue to go to. Because the future of freelancers in 2025 is that you're multifaceted, that you're really good in maybe one or two areas and okay in others, that you know how to use AI writing tools to make you faster and more efficient at what you do, that you are studying the areas of copy and continually studying marketing and sales and understanding the relationship between different types of copy and what brands might need or other companies might need, and that you go after the right clients, and that you understand the different mediums need to be respected for different mediums, and how you write copy and how you organize that thing will put you above the rest because you'll be able to bring much better results than anybody in your field. So for the copywriters or the freelancers in 2025, it's going to be a bright future for you if you do those things. If you're not going to do those things, if you're just going to get a free course and like, oh, I know what I'm doing, you're not going to make it in 2025 as a copywriter. You're going to try to find something else to do. If you don't learn how to use AI writers to do things faster, you're going to suffer quite a bit in 2025 when you need to produce more than others. If you don't understand the different mediums and respect them and learn how to get good at least one or two of them, you're going to have a lot of trouble in 2025. But if you heed all the things and the points that we make, you're going to do just fine. You're going to kick it. The biggest thing you will have to do also is to be known and be out there. But what do you think? If you're thinking about jumping into copywriting as a way to subsidize your income or maybe go full time with it, if you are currently a copywriter and you've seen all these things, what is your opinion about how 2025 will be for you as a copywriter or would-be copywriting industry? Comment below in the comments and let me know.